Hey everybody, I am at a undisclosed location slightly northwest of Whitehorse, living off the grid tonight. Kind of excited about that. That's my deluxe accommodations in the background, and they are actually incredibly comfortable. So yeah, I'm out here. Wanted to have a fire tonight, but fire ban, simply because the fire index is too high. So unfortunately I can't do that. I split wood anyway because I'm a sucker for punishment. It was nice just to see some chips fly and smell some nice seasoned firewood, you know. But I guess tonight what I kind of wanted to talk about was, I guess, you know, as you guys know, I'm in transition, right? I left the forces in April after spending more than half of my life, my entire adult life actually, pretty well, in the Canadian Armed Forces, and I left in April. And transition is a big stumbling block for a lot of us. And you know, I think we have, or I have the opportunity to be very mindful of that transition, and to maybe share some of my experiences with it in the hopes that perhaps it may resonate with somebody, or maybe somebody, you know, can just have one of those Me Too moments. And I guess what I want to talk about tonight is fear. You know, I've been in a lot of sketchy places, doing a lot of sketchy things my entire life. You know, but the fear when you're out on your own is a little bit different. And Terry Stead, I stayed with Terry early on in my trip. Terry was my Sergeant Major in Combat Support Company in 2nd Battalion, the Royal Canadian Regiment, many years ago. And I stayed with him, and he kind of remarked on the trip I'm on right now, and he said, you know, we do all this stuff in the forces, but you always have this logistics and support train that follows you, and you've always got the safety net. And he kind of, you know, he kind of pointed out to me that, you know, you're out there on your own. There's no safety net. You know, there's no CQ in behind me with my follow-up kit. It's me on that bike, and that's it. And and that is true. And you know, it was good to hear it from somebody else, because I'm going to tell you, I left Meaford on the 18th of June, and I was absolutely terrified. You know, what have I got myself into? What am I doing? Now, the only thing I can say is I felt that before. You know, I felt it as I, you know, about 4 years ago, I started to do these kind of adventure treks and whatever else. You know, I was kind of dying on the vine as an image tech. I was riding a desk, and it was killing me, and I needed some adventure. So I started going out and doing it on my own. And, you know, solo canoe trip on the Petawawa River, hiking the Bruce Trail, winter camping in Algonquin, solo winter camping, this crazy trip, ATV across Newfoundland with the old man. You know, instead of using a guide, we just planned it out ourselves. And you know, there's something to be said for flying solo like that. And I'm going to tell you, in each one of those instances, I was terrified. I remember my girlfriend dropping me off in Niagara to hike the Bruce Trail, and I remember looking over my shoulder and seeing her drive away, and realizing that it's just me in this rucksack for the next 30 days, you know, 900 kilometers or 30 days, whichever came first. And as I started to walk, I said, you know, this is going to be my life for the next month. It's just walking, because I'm here by myself. It turned out I ended up hiking with an excellent guy named Ryan Brooks, but you know, that's starting off that fear. Starting my canoe trip on the Petawawa River, you know, I had my good friend Mark Cushman drive me out to the middle of the bush, and as he drives away, it's just me in a rucksack and a canoe for 9 days, 90 kilometers of river to cover. And you know, I've done it. There's other trips too, and I'm gonna be straight up and say it. I've been terrified every single time, because you're stepping into the unknown. And you know, I plan everything, and I love the planning part of things. Planning this trip was amazing. I love trying to, figure out all the variables and trying to organize a trip, and I love that part of it. And then to bring it from that, from that concept to actually execute it is an amazing feeling for every trip I've ever done. But it's terrifying, and releasing was the same. I had a plan. I went through a few changes. I went through many changes, but I had a plan early on, and even at that, it was actually the 28th of March that I, signed all my paperwork and cleared out of the forces, and it was terrifying. I've been part of that organization for all my adult life. It's all I've ever really known, and to just step out of it, and I'm on my own, and I don't have that administrative and that logistics and that support train behind me anymore. It's terrifying, and I felt that. I felt it immediately, and I think, again, we don't talk about PTSD, and we don't talk about a lot of these things because they're not manly. They're not what soldiers talk about. But you know what? I was scared in battle school. I remember going to sleep every Sunday night in battle school, every Sunday night, and thinking, I can't do this for another week, or can I do this for another week, and just that same feeling. But you know what? That curse of expectation, that fear, that's the worst part of any experience I've ever had. Getting into the canoe, getting on the bike, getting on the trail, that first little bit, and you're just terrified and you're tense, and you don't know if you can do this, and you don't know if you're up for it, and you're wondering what you've gotten yourself into. And once you move past it, and once you move through it, the rewards are just unbelievable. There's a reward right behind me. It was never a lifelong dream to come to Whitehorse, but being here and having come of my own, coming here the way I did, what an amazing experience. And, pushing through that fear, that's what pays off. And, I've got to do the same. I got to do the same come September. I'm going to school. And then eventually I got to figure out what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Or at least for part of it. And, I'm terrified. I don't know how that's going to turn out. But, I'm busy planning. I'm busy chasing down ideas. And, at the end, I'm just going to do it. It was always the same. I used to ruck home from Meaford when I worked in Meaford. It was 14 kilometers door to door from the base to my house, and I used to ruck home once or twice a week. And the hardest part of that march was putting my friggin' rucksack on in the office. Was the curse of expectation, and it was the fear of what was to come and how much it might suck. But then once you get going, you just go. And the whole point of this isn't to toot my own horn. The whole point of this is to say that, what? I've been scared of a lot of things. But I don't know if I'm just stubborn enough to push through it. And, I'm terrified of this transition. Absolutely terrified. But I know I'm going to push through it. I always do. And I know the rewards are there to be reaped. If there's anybody preparing to get out of the forces, especially after you've done, a couple decades like I did, you might experience that. If there's anybody who's recently transitioned or transitioned in the past and felt that, there's no shame in it. It's okay. You are being separated from the one thing you've known your entire life pretty well, or your entire adult life. And, we serve And people thank me for my service. And people thank me for my sacrifice, and it's weird to have people do that. I joined in the mid-90s, and there was none of that then. Very, very little. And, you know, I always kind of felt weird about people thanking me for my service or sacrifice, because I didn't feel like I served or sacrificed. I felt like I just did what I wanted to do. But, you know, for so many of us who are so capable of amazing things within that construct of the forces and what we do, I don't think we realize how much that institution takes from us. And I don't mean that in, you know, I don't mean that in a malicious way. I mean, you become part of that culture, and you assimilate into that culture, and you're just used to the structure and the framework, and it can rob a bit of your independence. And, you know, certainly I've felt more fear going to do these things on my own than I ever felt going to do them as part of the Canadian Armed Forces team. Without a doubt. Hands down. Again, because that logistics train and that support train isn't behind you. And I think that's maybe part of our service that we don't recognize, or that we don't realize, that we give up a bit of that sometimes. And you know, it's kind of up to us to take it back personally. And you know, I just hope that, you know, if there's anybody out there and you're struggling with that fear of stepping into the unknown, that fear of walking away from everything you've ever known, it's natural and it's normal, and there's people out there who understand it, you know. But once we start pushing through that fear, the rewards are just, they are amazing. And we are people who are used to going above and beyond. We're people who are used to adversity, and, you know, we don't lose that when we leave. We still have it. And you know, you can put your will to that transition, and, you know, amazing things are going to happen. So anybody else out there who's feeling some of that like I am, you know, I just want you to know you're not alone. Or maybe I want you to let me know I'm not alone. That's how this shit works, right? So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that for tonight. I'm going to enjoy some of these beautiful surroundings. I leave Whitehorse, I leave the Yukon tomorrow. I'm into BC, and right now, so this is the most western point of my entire journey right now. This is as far west as I will go. You know, Signal Hill in the east, Cape Sable Island, Nova Scotia, was about the most southern point, and you know, the North Arm and Edzo, Northwest Territories, was the most northern of the trip. So now I've hit the Western Barrier, and it is time to head to Vancouver, and it is time then to start making my way back east, and start making my way home for the 1st of September. And I say it sounds like it's almost over, but there's still, you know, still another 3 weeks to go. So that's wild. I can't believe I'm here. I just can't believe it. It's what an amazing trip. And you know, so to everybody who's followed along, everybody who's shared, you know, everybody for whom this has generated, you know, any conversation, thank you for that. That's what I want. You know, I just want us to start talking about it, start taking the stigma away from it, start taking the isolation and the shame. Can you imagine? We are so many of us who feel shame for not being able to do what we used to do. It's not the way it should be. We gotta change that. And you know, to everybody who's donated time, money to the GoFundMe or in person, giving me a place to stay or a hot meal, thank you so much for supporting me in this. And you know, it's been amazing, and I'm still, you know, I'm still reflecting on and still catching up from things that happened, you know, the first week or so. You know, looking forward to getting back on the bike tomorrow. It was good to have a couple days in Whitehorse. It was busy. I had to change out the chain on my bike, and luckily somebody was kind enough to lend me some tools to help me to do that, and everything's running tip top. I can't wait to get that on the road tomorrow and start making my way down into BC. If you're out there and you've got your story of, you know, your service, your struggles, and what you're doing now, you know, I want to hear from you. I'd love to get you on camera and interview you so we can start to share that with your peer group, and we can start to make some more of those interpersonal connections. And I want to thank Craig Carney and Susan Musgrave for their courage and their openness to share their story with me and with all of you, because I can't tell you how much that means to me. You know, that is it's huge. But anyway, enough. 16 minutes, more than enough. I will no doubt be reaching out again soon. I want to thank everybody again, and oh, one more. Rolling Barrage. The Rolling Barrage starts tomorrow morning. Military Minds Inc., their cross-country ride from Halifax to Victoria, and I would love to go out and be a part of that, but obviously I'm already engaged. Luckily, I'm going to be crossing paths with them on the 19th or the 20th in Calgary, Alberta, and I'm looking forward to that and seeing some good folks there. But you can check them out. You can donate to the Rolling Barrage. You just Google that and it's going to come right up. And that goes to PTSD awareness and support of veterans programs. They just gave a sawmill tour retreat in Nova Scotia. I just posted the story on my Facebook this evening. You know what? If you can, check them out. Go out for a ride. Go out and show your support. If you're able to donate, that's an amazing cause. And Scott, Stu, I can't wait to see you guys in Calgary. I'm hoping John Louis Delisle is going to be there as well, because I missed you in Edmonton, brother. And yeah, guys, have a safe ride. Can't wait to see you. Bye.